Ladies and gentlemen, taking a look at recent years, what can be said about them? For starters, horror games have certainly seen a return to glory, yes indeed. Despite the great drought of times past, there certainly were countless attempts to reignite the once glorious flames of madness and insanity. About 90% of them would fail miserably, of course, remembered only as cheaply made indie trash. However, quite a few also managed to transcend the crowded market, instead becoming well-remembered icons of the growing revolution. 2016 in particular was meant to serve as a banner for the horror genre to lead the charge into a new age. And even though their intention seemed promising, ultimately the battle was lost. Many of the upcoming titles had to be delayed, others were cancelled, thus biting the dust forever. But their loss is 2017's gain, and unless there are more unforeseen incidents, horror fans sure have plenty to feel excited about this year. Resident Evil 7 already happened, finally seeing a wonderful return to its roots, and things can only get better from there. So, without further ado, my very name is TheShadowCookie, and these are my most anticipated horror games of 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the show. First, we have Canarian, developed by Zoetrope Interactive, a first-person horror exploration game inspired by the works of H.P. Lovecraft, specifically his famous novella At the Mountains of Madness, but largely set after the original story. Slated for release in possibly the second quarter of this year, perhaps even sooner, it takes place in a deserted Antarctic base located near the South Pole. As lone scientist Frank Gilman, it becomes your mission to discover the answers as to how said base could have fallen into such a state of disrepair, and ultimately your true purpose in the whole matter. Looks like there's going to be dreams and visions, complex puzzles and machinery, alien temples. Good stuff in my opinion. I for one cannot wait to encounter some eldritch abominations in those frozen wastes. Giant penguins, cyclopean cities, certainly a game that any die-hard fan of Lovecraftian horror should be looking forward to. The Land of Pain, developed entirely by a single person, one Alessandro Gazzo. In this game, another first-person horror exploration experience, you find yourself lost in some creepy and unknown place after taking a peaceful stroll through the woods. There are no means of defense available, you are completely unarmed from start to finish. Having played a public demo a couple of times, I can report with positive certainty that the production value is breathtakingly high. Realistic graphics, intense use of environmental sounds, big locations to wander through, and so on and so forth. At no point did I ever truly feel safe. While rummaging about, the tension was always present. Who'd have thought that random noises in the distance could be so terrifying? For better or for worse, I did not stumble upon any actual monsters in those woods. Not yet, but those happen to be one of the many promises that the full game wants to deliver. Also promised Lovecraftian atmosphere. There is that word again, Lovecraftian. Yes, I think I am feeling pretty hyped for The Land of Pain. Narcosis, developed by Honor Code. This first-person survival story, initially conceived as a student project, has all the right intentions to remind us that primal fears and human limits can be scarier than any fictional monster. Following the events of an industrial catastrophe, a lone aquanaut and the suit end up stranded at the bottom of the ocean, with low lights, few tools, and not a whole lot of oxygen. Death approaches fast, and so, forced to act quickly, you will have no choice but to head out into the depths of the abyss to uncover all the secrets it holds. I still remember every second about frictional games critically acclaimed Soma, and how much it taught me to be even more afraid of the sea than I had already been. But those final moments spent inside the abyss, they were short-lived. They didn't last very long. How about, say, a couple of hours more? Yes, that would be amazing. An abyssal simulation about the haunting world beneath the waves, rooted in reality, steeped in the surreal. Did I mention it is going to include virtual reality support as well? Yes, I believe I have made my point. Darkness, confinement, isolation. Here I come. Paradise, you may call it that. Paradise for the demented. Alright, so the next game on this list is going to be... Oh my god. That is disgusting. Yes, it is so disgusting. And grotesque too. But just as much as that, it is also bizarrely fascinating. Oh dear, sorry, didn't mean to get off the subject. What I was trying to say... Welcome to Scorn! Yes indeed, Scorn, developed by App Software. Oh, Jesus Christ. Swiss painter H.R. Giger would be proud. So this game, quote-unquote, is going to be a first-person horror adventure set in a nightmarish universe of odd forms and somber tapestry. Apparently you get thrown into this beautiful world like a helpless infant, forced to endure, adapt, and ultimately understand. There is tons of more stuff that can be found on their website, scorn/game.com, but I ask, is it really necessary? What you see is pretty much what you get. Just look at these graphics, behold them. The flesh and the bones, biomechanical mockeries of normality. Oh, I need to calm down. I can assure you, nobody found themselves able to look away when Scorn made its unholy debut in 2016. People were left speechless. So, when is the game gonna release? 2017 in all likelihood. What kind of gameplay could such a repulsive game offer? Do we even wish to find out? As a matter of fact, I do. I do. A lot. If you thought that Scorn's level of appalling detail couldn't possibly be outmatched, then I suppose you have yet to meet 2017's hot contender for most sickening visuals imaginable. Flee while you still can, mortal insects, because this right here is Agony, developed by Mad Mind Studio, a first-person survival horror game that will take place entirely in hell. Not just a small portion of it, oh no, entirely. It isn't going to be your unimaginative, run-of-the-mill, barren wasteland either, but instead, perhaps, the purest depiction of it that I have ever seen. Witnessing the suffering of the damned, violent demons that reek of blasphemy and sacrilege, a constant sensation of torment. As you struggle to keep your fragile sanity intact, the devil will always be watching. Oh, this is going to be one merciless horror game that won't give you a break, not ever. And personally speaking, I cannot wait to go to hell in order to pay the Seven Circles a visit. Silent Hills, oh Silent Hills, why did you have to be sacrificed? Such a loss, pointless and premature. But what has happened cannot be made undone. People love to say that time heals all wounds, yet still we continue to mourn. However, like the phoenix rising from its ashes, so did the legacy of Silent Hills, giving birth to several imitators as a result. This would be one such imitator, the first-person horror experience known as Visage, developed by Sad Square Studio. If you delight in exploring old houses filled to the brim with strange happenings and supernatural evil, just like I do, then maybe you should consider hiring a real estate agent as soon as possible. But beware, for each crack, each silent breath from a window, each small event could drag you closer and closer toward an untimely demise. Will you be able to reveal the dark history of the house, or become another victim like so many others? Silent Hills, oh Silent Hills, I do believe that we have found a worthy successor. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I am gonna change my residence. Originally announced under the title Hunger back in 2014, this humble puzzle platformer, developed by Tarsier Studios, decided to make an unexpected return 2 years later, during the Gamescom announcements of 2016, now retitled Little Nightmares. The plot revolves around a 9-year-old girl named Six, who gets abducted from her home and taken to work in The Maw, a surreal underwater resort catering to the whims of the powerful elite. Of course, you might say that a sweet side-scroller as creepily adorable as Little Nightmares could never hope to be anywhere near as scary as most of the other entries on this list. But who knows, I say. Similar atmospheric games of seemingly innocent nature, such as the critically acclaimed Limbo or Inside, both created by developer Playdead, those managed to be rather intimidating as well, their eerie stories brought to life through imagery as opposed to spoken words. That alone is more than enough reason for me to feel excited. April 2017, you've got my number, it is a date. In space, no one can hear you scream. None who'd be willing to help you, anyway, but the monsters can hear you. They are always listening, always in search of unsuspecting prey. Such is their routine. That it is, Routine, developed by Lunar Software, set on an abandoned moon base designed around a 70s vision of the future, you have been plunged into a situation most dire. Will you do the more plausible thing and search for rescue, or give in to foolhardy temptation and explore? I think I am probably going to pick the latter. Feel free to call it suicide, because I have been waiting for the release of this first-person survival horror game ever since 2012. You feared right, 5 whole years of patience most persistent. It is crazy, just crazy, how much the developers have kept to themselves all this time. We've had scarce updates, cancellation, anxiety, but also the craving for something so beautiful. The first Dead Space whet my appetite for sci-fi horror, Alien Isolation made it stronger, and now in the year 2017, I can wait no longer. I am famished. With death lurking around every corner and permanent death also being a thing, I am gladly gonna leave this planet behind to perish among the stars. Outlast 2, the long-awaited sequel to 2013's universally praised Outlast, and its excellent DLC, The Whistleblower, developed by Red Barrels. Like its predecessor, players will once again slip into the role of a freelance journalist who just happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Not only does his helicopter suddenly need to crash land in the middle of nowhere while following the mysterious murder of a young pregnant woman, his wife is also kidnapped by a dangerous cult of rednecks in the process. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong, it seems. I've pretty much got nothing but respect for these developers. The first Outlast was an almost flawless masterpiece, in my opinion, one that gave us a fantastic story, partially based upon actual top-secret experiments of the CIA and German scientists from World War II. I enjoyed my stay at the Mount Massive Asylum, its murderous inhabitants, the richly written lore. But can Outlast 2 achieve the impossible, surpassing its precursor? I've got my camcorder at the ready, batteries loaded, I am prepared. Say hello, variant scum, say hello, Mr. Wallrider. We've missed you, away from Colorado and into the cornfields. That is not that which can eternal lie, and with strange eons even death may die. I implore you, ladies and gentlemen, to heed said couplet, because coming in last on this extensive list of mine, we have the eternal sleeper of the sunken city himself, he who never ceases to dream. It is Call of Cthulhu, the official video game, being developed by Cyanide Studio, and I do believe that statement bears repeating. Not just any Lovecraftian horror game, the official Lovecraftian horror game. That is quite the outrageous claim, in all honesty, having the guts to put yourself above the competition, as little as there is, in such a devastating manner. But am I complaining? No, far from it. Why would I? After all, this very title, it has the potential to become what us fans of H.P. Lovecraft have been begging for ever since 2005. The last decent, big-budget Lovecraftian horror game we got to play, one that also tried being official, it was Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth, a bug-ridden mess of a title held together by staples and glue. Nevertheless, like I just said, it still managed to be quite decent, following the source material well enough to become a memorable experience. Unfortunately, as already mentioned, that was over a decade ago. Yes, indeed, over a decade. The year 2005, and nothing comparable ever since. Nothing. That is a long time of deprivation, better believe it. So, along comes the next official game, at last, and my excitement is unreal. Unreal. Could this one be the gift sent down from the cosmos? Are we done praying to our ancient gods? Thus far, not too much has been revealed, but apparently the game is going to feature a semi-open world along with RPG and stealth elements. You are going to witness the journey of a private investigator, the mysterious deaths of an entire family, and of course the involvement of the great old ones. No actual gameplay has been shown yet, no actual gameplay, a slight reason to feel concerned, but I, in all honesty, could not care less. I mean, it is a Cthulhu game, the official Call of Cthulhu game, and it has become my most anticipated horror game of 2017. Now please deliver and do not disappoint. Oh, please do not disappoint. Otherwise, the backlash is going to be mind-bending. And thus it draws to a close. Much has been said, and from the looks of it, 2017 is going to be a great year for any fan of the horror genre. Please be so kind, and do forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, if your favorite did not happen to appear on this list of mine, but the imminent flood of games, it is too overwhelming. They cannot all be included. As much as I'd love to, I'd say I've been consuming more than enough of your precious time already, ladies and gentlemen. So, this has been your host, TheShadowCookie. Thank you also very much for watching, and I am going to see you around. Until next time, until then.